Hello everyone, welcome to the session 1 of 3 ICC Standard 10th Physics chapter Refraction Through Lens. Now if you are here, that means you really value your time and you want to take a head start during this lockdown. Now before we start, it is very important to understand the importance of this chapter. Now in ICC Physics, there are altogether 12 chapters and each chapter is further subdivided into 2 to 3 units. Chapter length, it contains maximum of 4 units. It's a big lengthy chapter. But I assure you, if you prepare it well, you will secure for yourself at least 6 to 8 marks. Plus, every year, if you see past year question papers, at least one numericals 90% of times they give it. Alright, so let's start. Now let's have an overview of this session. Firstly, you will learn about lens, about types of lenses. Second, about diverging and converging action of lens by treating them as a thin lens or as a thick lens. Third, technical terms related to a lens. Then we will have a brief discussion related to real and virtual focus and focal plane of both concave and convex lenses. After that, factors affecting focal length and some standard questions related to the above factors. Finally, we will do some selected questions and some past year's questions. Hello everyone, welcome to the first topic of this session, lens and its types. So let's try to understand what lens really is. Alright, the topic here is lens. If you check the definition, you will study that lens is a transparent refractive medium bounded by two curved surfaces or one curved and one plane surface. See what it says. Lens, first of all, it is a transparent refracting medium, that is the first part, and that transparent refractive medium is bounded by two curved surfaces, bounded by two curved surfaces, or it can be bounded by one curved surface and one plane surface. Lens, it is a transparent refractive medium bounded by two curved surfaces. Curve, you understand? Curve, one curved and one plane surface. If we try to draw this definition, we can draw two different types of diagrams. See, type 1, transparent refractive medium bounded by two curved surfaces. I can take two curved surfaces like this. First curve, this is the second curve. This is one way of drawing it, or I may draw it like this also. Two curved surfaces, first one, and this is the second one. Or if you check this one curved and one plane surface. That means this is one plane and one curved surface. This is type 1. Our interpretation of the definition: transparent refractive medium bounded by two curved surfaces, these two curved surfaces both sides, and one curved and one plane, one curved and one plane. Second way we can draw the diagram is something like this. Two curved surfaces, we can draw it even like this. This is the first curved surface and this one is the second curved surface. Or we may even draw it this way. Here also, first surface is also curved, second surface is also curved. Or we may draw it one plane and one curved surface. Now, how to name it? See, very simplest way, easy way to name it. Suppose you want to name this lens. All you have to imagine, you think that you are looking at this lens from this side and from this side. Now, if you look from this side, think as if you are standing here. This surface in front of you is which type of curve? This is convex now, obviously convex. So we can name it like this, convex. And if you look at this from this side is also convex. So from both sides, if you see the lens, it is convex. So we can write it biconvex lens. In this case, again, if you want to name it, first you view the lens from this side. How is it appearing to you? This is concave obviously, and if you look at from this side, it is again convex. So this side is convex, this side is concave, and this side is convex. So together concavo convex. For this one, this side is plane. If you look at from this side is plane, and if you look at from this side is convex. So we can write it plano convex. Now type 2, view this lens from this side. This is what? Concave, and if you view it from this side also, this side is also concave. So we can write it as biconcave. From two concave sides are there, so that is why biconcave. If you try to label this one, view it from this side appears convex to you. View it from this side appears concave to you. So this is convexo concave. And last one, you view it from this side is plane. If you view it from this side is concave. So that is plano concave. So type 1, 3 types are you are getting here. Type 2 also 3 types are getting. Alright. So type 1 we call it convex lens, general name. Type 2 we call it concave. So there are basically 2 major types of a lens, convex and a concave. Hello students, welcome to this session. This session we will be studying about the diverging and converging action of lenses. Before we start, it is important that following points should be there in your head before we start. Already you have studied this, but in notes you can note it down. First thing you should be knowing about refraction. All of you know that if a light ray passes from one medium to another medium such that this is rarer and this is denser, in such case if light ray falls like this, what happens? If this is the normal, it will bend towards the normal. Secondly, all of you know that if reverse is happening, if light ray travels from second medium to first medium, alright, this one is denser, this one is rarer. In this situation, this is the normal. If a light ray is falling like this, what will happen? It will bend away from the normal. This is the basic principle. And lastly, third point which you should keep in mind is that even though if there are 2 mediums having different refractive indices, if a light ray falls normally on it, that means making 90° with the surface, in that case light will pass undeviated without refraction. This is the case when angle of incidence is equal to 0°. This is just a revision from your previous classes. Alright. Now in order to understand the diverging and converging action of lenses, you have to consider this convex lens. This is a convex lens, but to study the action you have to consider it as a thick lens. This is convex, but if you are taking it as a thick lens, we may divide this lens into 3 parts. It might be considered as a set of 2 prisms and 1 rectangular glass slab. So if you are treating the lens as a thick lens, then your diagram will look something like this. This is 1 prism, 1 rectangular glass slab and another prism. This is how you treat the lens as a thick lens. Alright. Now suppose if a light ray falls on it, parallel light rays on the prism, another ray on the glass slab and another ray on the lower prism. On each point of contact, all you have to do, you have to draw one normal. Suppose normal here is like this. Here also if you are drawing normal, this is the normal. Now one by one you apply all the rules. In this case, this is the medium 1, inside the prism this is medium 2. This is rarer, this is denser. Now what will happen? Because the light ray is coming from a rarer medium, after refraction it will bend towards the normal. So it will bend like this, and at this point again you draw another normal. Now what is happening? This light ray inside the prism is now, it will travel from denser towards rarer. So it will move away from the normal as it is coming out. For this case, this is making 90 degrees. That means angle of incidence here is 0 degrees. This light ray is coinciding with the normal exactly. That is why this angle of incidence is 0 degrees, and it is making 90 degree with the surface of the rectangular glass slab. So already we know, if this is the situation, light ray will pass undeviated straight. So in this case it will pass straight like this. For third one, again it will bend towards the normal, and as it is coming out, again it will bend like this away from the normal. Here it bent towards the normal and again away from the normal. So if you see this, what is happening, all the parallel rays after suffering refraction from a convex lens, they are actually going to meet at a single point. That means they are converging. This is what converging really means. So for a simple thin plane lens, you can directly draw it like this: first ray, second ray, third ray. You can just draw it straight here. Because we are considering it as a thin lens, no need to show these details, but directly you will draw it like this, and they all will meet at a single point like this. So you have to see the question, what they have asked. If they ask you to treat the lens as a thick lens, your diagram should have all these details. But if you are treating it as a thin lens, then directly you can just use the result. This is what converging means. Hello students, this session we would be covering some technical terms, very important, related to lens. Now, rather than just learning the definitions, I'll focus on explaining the physical significance of each of the terms, which will help you widely in further coming topics, so that you can really visualize it in your head. So before we start, one small concept you have to understand. Whether I draw a convex or whether I draw a concave lens, look carefully, it is actually made up of two sides or two surfaces. This is surface 1 and this side is surface 2. Now, because this is a curve, we can assume it to be a part of a big sphere. Say suppose surface 1 is actually portion of a sphere. Surface 1 is part of this sphere. Now first technical term which you have to study is the center of curvature. Now how to define it? Center of curvature is nothing but the center of the sphere of which this spherical surface which is forming the lens is a part of. So surface 1 is part of this sphere and its center will be called the center of curvature for surface 1. Same way, if you want to define center of curvature for surface 2, just complete the sphere and mark its center, C2. How to define it? Center of curvature is the center of the sphere of which the spherical side which is forming the lens is a part of. So we have got two center of curvatures for the respective sides. Same way for concave, if you complete the sphere here for surface 1 and if you complete the sphere here for surface 2, center of this one I'll mark it as C1, center for this surface I'll mark it as C2. So these are the center of curvatures for surface 1 and surface 2. Second term which you have to study is the radius of curvature. If you have understood this, then that is very simple. Radius of curvature, as the name suggests, is the radius of this sphere. This is the center, distance of center from the circumference. So if I am joining it like this is the radius of curvature, R2 for this sphere, and for this case this is the radius of curvature, R1, but only if you are treating the lens as a thick lens. So we'll have to just classify it. If you are treating the lens as a thick lens, then your radius of curvature would be C2, let me mark it as P, C2P for this surface. For surface 1, your radius of curvature is C1P. This is for surface 2, This is for surface 1. But if you treat the lens as a thin lens, if you treat it as a thin lens, then your radius of curvature would be from here till here to a point which is called the optical center. Optical center lies at the axis of symmetry, just at the midpoint. We will discuss it later what is optical center, but for now, from here till here, the center of this lens lying on the axis of symmetry is your optical center. So C2O, for thin lens, C2O will be equal to C2P, or let me write it as nearly equal to C2P. For this side, C1O would be nearly equal to C1P. C1P. Now, how is that possible? Because this is a thin lens and this is the radius. Obviously, this radius C2P is greater. It is greater than this length. Same way, this radius is greater than this length. But because this is a thin lens, this radius is approximately equal to C2O. For understanding, if this length is 12 centimeters, this is around 11.99 centimeters. So approximately they are nearly the same. So for thin lens, keep this in mind. All right. Here also, if I just draw the axis of symmetry here, line of symmetry, mark the midpoint O. From here till here is the radius of curvature for a thick lens, that is C1. From here till here, from the circumference to the center, that is the radius of curvature for thick lens. So in this case, thick lens, the radius of curvature would be C1, or I'll just write it R1, and for this case R2. All right. But if you are treating it as a thin lens, this length will be nearly equal to this length. So for thin lens, your radius of curvature would be C1O, and from this side it would be C2O. Just so that you may remember, this is nearly equal to R1, this is nearly equal to R2. This length nearly equal to this for thin lens. Next topic, next term which you have to do is the principal axis. Already you have understood the center of curvature, radius of curvature. So principal axis is very simple. This is surface 1, this is surface 2. If I draw the spheres, for surface 1, if I am drawing the sphere, this is the sphere and center of curvature, the center of the sphere is here. For surface 2, this is the sphere, center of curvature C2. Now principal axis is very simple, the line connecting the two center of curvatures. If I just draw a straight line and connect them, this is your principal axis. This is your principal axis, the line joining the center of curvatures of the respective sides, that is the principal axis. Now I told you, remember optical center. What is optical center? I told you I will be discussing it later. So now we can define optical center is a point which lies on the principal axis. This is the point. Optical center is a point which lies on the principal axis such that if a ray of light falls incident on it, after refraction, the emergent light ray, this one is the emergent, this one is the incident light ray, and this one is the emergent ray. So I was defining optical center. Optical center is a point lying on the principal axis within the lens such that if a light ray is incident on it, after refraction, the emergent ray, the direction of the emergent ray would be parallel to the direction of the incident ray. What does it mean? This light ray is falling here, see its direction, and from here till here this is the emergent ray, and check its direction. both are coinciding, they are parallel. Alright, so point of incidence is a point in convex or a concave lens such that if a ray of light is incident on that point, then the light which is coming out, the emergent ray which is coming out, its direction would be parallel to the direction of the incident light. If you draw it for concave, here also this is the point of incidence, sorry, optical center. So here if I make one light ray fall, then it is understood that if this is the optical center, then the emergent ray would be straight, it will pass straight. So diagrams I have drawn for thin lens here. In next session we would be covering about principal foci, about focus, real and virtual focus. The next technical term that we are going to cover is principal foci. Now let's try to understand it. Alright, now the word foci, it's plural of focus. Alright, that means more than one focus points. Suppose this is one convex lens. Already we have studied about the diverging and converging nature of lens. Because this is convex, already you know that if a light ray comes from this side, after refraction they will converge and meet at a point. Now this point here is called your focus. For now just I will call it focus. But depending upon how the light ray is coming, it might form focus this side also, either this side or that side. That means we are having two focuses. That is why the name principal foci, the plural of focus. Now the point over here, we'll call it as second focal point. So we'll just name them. This is the second focal point. If you want to define it, how to define it? Second focal point, as you can see, it is a point on the principal axis such that if a ray of light coming parallel to the principal axis after refraction passes through that point or appears to or actually meets at that point, that point is called second focal point. For concave lens, if you want to define it, again you remember that topic in previous session, the diverging nature of concave lens. Suppose I am drawing light rays like this. You know the result? Because this is concave, it will diverge it. That means the light ray after refraction will move away from the principal axis, this side. But if suppose you are looking at this ray from this point, what you will feel? You will feel that an illusion will be there for you that this ray is actually coming from somewhere here. And for this light ray also, if you look at from here, you will assume that illusion will be there that this light ray is actually coming from this point. This point over here will be your second focal point for concave lens. So if you want to define it, how to define? Same way as we have done here, second focal point for concave lens is again a point on the principal axis such that if rays of light traveling parallel to the concave lens after refraction, they appears to be coming from this point or they appear to be diverging from this point. This is your second focal point for concave lens. Alright, in order to define the first focal point, we'll do a little revision, the principle of reversibility of light. Alright, now if I ask you a simple question, suppose instead of this light ray coming from this direction, suppose it was coming from, it was originating from this point like this. Suppose it were originating like this. After refraction, can you tell me what will happen to these rays? After refraction, the principle of reversibility of light, it states that the light will go back exactly the same path. That means if the light ray was originating from here, after refraction it will follow the same exact path. So again, if I draw a convex lens, but this time if I suppose light ray is originating from this point like this. Similar, only difference I have drawn the figure from left hand side. So according to this figure, after refraction the rays should become parallel to the principal axis. this point over here, this is your first focal point. If you want to define it, first focal point is a point again on the principal axis such that if a ray of light originating from here, after refraction from the lens, they become parallel to the principal axis. That is the definition of first focal point. Same way, if you want to define first focal point for concave lens, again I will draw the concave lens, principal axis. All right. Here also, if I ask you the same question, suppose the light ray was coming the reverse order. Instead of like this, if the arrows were like this, what would have happened? After refraction by the principle of reversibility of light, it would have traveled exactly the same path backwards like this. Is that clear? All right. Same way. Okay. So, in this situation, what will happen? I will just draw this figure from the left hand side. If light rays were coming like this, according to this, after refraction, they should become parallel to the principal axis. Just the reverse figure of this figure. All right. Now, as you can see, two rays are directed towards a certain point. If you look from here, you will feel that they are about to reach here. If you look from here, you will feel that this ray is about to reach here. This point over here is your first focal point for concave lens. So, if you want to define it, again, first focal point is again a point on the principal axis such that if rays of light incident on that point, after refraction through a lens, they become parallel to the principal axis. I hope this topic is clear. Now, if this is clear, you can clearly understand the difference between the real focus and the virtual focus. See, in this case, if I will draw the figure like this, if the light rays were coming like this, they would have met at this point F2. So, here actually the rays are meeting, we are not imagining it. Actually the two rays are meeting over here, and here the previous diagram, light ray was moving like this and it was something like this. But what I told, if you are looking from this point, you will feel that illusion will be there that this ray is actually coming from this point, and this ray also you will feel, a person over here, he will feel that this ray is actually originating from this point. Now, these two rays are not actually meeting, but to a person over here, it is appearing to meet at this point or originating from this point. So, this is your virtual focus when it appears to be meeting or appears to be coming from that point, not actually coming. The point over here, that is your real focus. So, this point is your real focus. This one is your virtual focus. Over here also, because actually the rays are coming from this point, this is your real focus. Dotted lines, that means appearing to meet or appearing to come from here, that is your virtual focus. All right. So, one conclusion we will draw from here, you can write it in notes, that convex lens, which type of focus they are forming. See both the figures, real, real. So, they always form real focus. For concave, the focus is always virtual. However, one exception is there. In one case, it can form virtual also. That we will do when we will do the ray diagrams. All right. So, for convex, the focus is real or virtual. For concave, the focus is always virtual. If you have understood this properly, now it is time that you understand what is focal plane. Focal plane is nothing but a perpendicular imaginary line passing through the focus point over the principal axis. That means, if this is the focal point, if I draw one perpendicular, an imaginary line just passing from over here, this is your focal point. For concave also, from the focal point, if I draw one line just passing through it, perpendicular to it, this imaginary line will be called its focal plane. Now, depending upon the diagram, because this is the second focal point, the focal plane which is passing from here, we'll call it the second focal point. This is second focal plane. Second focal plane. Here also, because it is passing from the second focal point, I'll call it second focal plane. In this figure, if you draw that imaginary perpendicular line passing through the principal axis, this dotted line, what should be the name here? Because it is passing from the first focal point, I'll call it first focal plane. In this figure, because this is first focal point for concave, if I draw this dotted line passing through it, it will be called first focal plane. Next session, we will be covering about the factors which affect the focal length of concave and convex mirror. Focal length is nothing but the distance from the optical center here to the focus. This distance we denote it by small f. The distance from the focal point to the optical center. This is your focal length. We will do that in detail in next section. What are the factors by which we can change the focal length of a concave or convex lens? Hello again, welcome to the fourth session of chapter lens. This session you will be studying about the factors on which the focal length of a lens depends. Before we start, let's have a brief recap of previous session. In previous session we learned about the focal length, and I hope you remember focal length is nothing but the distance between the optical center and the focus point. So this is the second focal point. Distance from here till here, from the optical center to the focal point, we denote it by small f, and it is called the focal length. One more technical term we did, that was the center of curvature. Suppose see the center of curvature here. The distance of center of curvature from the optical center, we denote it by capital R. This is the radius of curvature, and focal length is actually half of the radius of curvature. Now, this small f, the focal length of a lens, will depend upon two factors. First factor it will depend upon is the refractive index of the material of the lens with respect to the medium in which the lens is placed. For example, if I take one lens and if I place it inside water, suppose this is placed inside water, and same lens if I place in air, outside medium here is air. Even though they are the same length, same thickness, their focal length will vary. In case of water, the focal length, suppose here if it is f1 and here the focal length is suppose f2. If you place the lens inside water, the focal length increases. That is your first factor. f1 here is greater than f2. Second factor is the thickness of lens. Now, how does this affect the factor? Thickness means if you are using a thicker lens, more refraction would be there. If refraction is more bending of light will be there, and if more bending of light will be there, the focal length will decrease. Suppose if I am using a thin lens here and light passes through it and it gets refracted, and suppose focal length here is f1. But if I take a thicker lens here, light ray passes, it suffers more refraction, so more bending. So this is suppose f2 focal length. Clearly f1 is greater than f2. Focal length in case of thinner lens will be greater compared to focal length of a thicker lens. Alright. Now let's do some rules related to ray diagram formation. So there are basically three rules which you have to apply if you want to draw ray diagrams correctly. Alright. So one by one, let us go through it. First one, rule 1 for ray diagrams is when light passes through optical center, whether it be convex or whether it be concave lens, This is the principal axis. If there is a light ray which passes through the optical center, which is incident at the optical center, then after refraction it passes straight, undeviated. That is the first rule. So if I draw it for concave also, suppose light ray is falling at the optical center, then it will pass undeviated. Without deviation, it will just pass through it. That is the first rule. Second rule is that, let me state it, for parallel rays to principal axis. Suppose I am drawing a convex again. This is the principal axis. So this rule is for the parallel rays. If I draw any ray which is parallel to the principal axis, suppose from here, then the rule states that after refraction it has to pass through the second focal point. Any ray which is parallel to the principal axis, after refraction it has to pass through F2. It doesn't matter if I draw that ray above the principal axis or below it. Even if I am drawing a parallel ray like this, parallel to the principal axis but below the principal axis, then after refraction anyhow it will pass through this second focal point. So if I am drawing for concave, slightly the rule will change, because for concave lens, second focal point is this side and first focal point is this side. So in this case, if I am drawing a parallel ray like this, the light ray, because this is concave, it will diverge it. That means light ray will bend like this, but it will bend in such a way that if a person looks at this ray from here, he will feel that this ray is actually coming from second focal point, appears to be coming from this point. So even if I am drawing parallel ray like this, it will get refracted in such a way that if a person looks from here, he will feel that this ray is actually coming from the second focal point. So rule 2, I hope it is clear. For parallel rays, for convex lens, it will pass through F2. For concave lens, it will appear to be coming from the point F2. Third rule, again for convex and concave separately we will discuss. This side is F1, this side is F2. If I draw a ray of light passing through F1, alright, so third rule is related to rays passing through F1. If I draw a light ray passing through F1, suppose if I am drawing it like this, this is a light ray, straight. So after refraction, it will become parallel. That is the rule. Any ray passing through F1 after refraction from convex lens will become parallel to the principal axis. Even if I am drawing it this way, this ray is passing through F1, so after refraction what it should become parallel to the principal axis. In this case, first focal point is this side and second focal point is this side. So slightly the rule will be different here. We can't just draw light ray entering F1 here. So we will draw one such ray that is targeted towards the point F1. This is targeted towards the point F1. So after refraction, because it was targeted towards F1, the third rule states that after refraction it has to be parallel to the principal axis. It will not actually pass through F1, but if it was targeted towards F1, it will become parallel after refraction. If I am drawing it this way also, suppose this ray was targeted towards F1, after refraction it will become parallel to the principal axis. Now these all three rules we have to apply to get the ray diagram's image, and after getting the image we'll write down their characteristics, nature and application. That we will discuss in next session. In the first question, we are having two figures like this, and parallel light rays are entering two boxes as shown in the figure. And looking at this figure, you have to predict which kind of lens is placed in each of these boxes. All right. So the information which we are going to use is the converging and diverging properties of lens. Convex, you know that if parallel rays pass through it, they meet at a point. We can also extend these light rays like this. So that's the figure. In this situation, we know that concave, if parallel light rays pass through it, they diverge the light rays like this. Alright, so clearly in first case, without any doubt, the lens inside the box has to be a convex lens. Now complete the diagram. Parallel light rays enters, and according to this figure, they will converge at a point and pass out like this. So this line has to be straight. I am drawing freehand, so but using scale you have to do this, and line has to be straight. And one more point you have to take care, that each time you show refraction happening, light rays bending, make sure you mark the arrows. In this situation, if you draw concave, it is correct, but you have to justify your answer with your figure. Parallel light rays, what will happen? It will diverge. I will just adjust it. It will move out like this. Here also it moves out like this. But for the second question, one more possibility is there. Remember what I told you, have to justify what you are drawing. In this situation, there can also be a convex inside it. So how you will draw that? Light rays entering, parallel ones, make them intersect inside the box, so that when they are moving out, this light ray, it will move out straight like this, and this light ray will move out straight like this. So both answers are correct, but you have to draw it correctly. Second question, we have to state the condition in which a lens can be called equiconcave or equiconvex. Now, convex lens, all of you know, this is the convex lens, surface 1 and surface 2, already we have studied. Now, it is not necessary that the radius of curvature, that means the distance from the center of curvature, this side, this is for surface 2, this is C2, and this distance, we call this radius of curvature. And if this side also, if we are drawing this side, it would be C1 and the radius is R1. It is not necessary always that both sides R1 and R2 would be equal. But if R1 equals to R2, that means both sides, the radius of curvatures for both the surfaces are equal, then we may call it equiconvex lens. Similarly, for concave lens, already we know how to draw center of curvatures. This is surface 1, this is surface 2. So this side, this would be R1, C1. This side it would be C2, and this side R2. Alright. If R1 and R2, that means the radius of curvatures on either side of the lens, if they are equal, R1 equals to R2, then we can call this lens equiconcave lens. So the condition is that the radius of curvature on both sides or both the surfaces of the lens should be equal. Then only we can call it equiconcave or equiconvex lens. In question 3, again a diagram has been provided as shown here. Now in the diagram, they have represented two prisms and a glass slab, and they are asking the name of this lens. Clearly this is what? Concave. Very simple. This is a concave lens, a thick concave lens. Alright. Second part, you have to label this line x dash, what it is. We have studied that. In technical terms, this is your principal axis. This line is principal axis. After that, we have to complete the ray diagram. Ray AB is entering the lens here, and this ray is parallel to the principal axis. So what we have to do, because this is a thick lens, remember, so we have to show the details. Firstly, we will draw normal here, N dash. Now light is coming from a rarer towards a denser medium. So it will bend towards the normal like this. At this point again you will draw normal, M dash. This time this light ray, it is moving from denser towards rarer medium. So what will happen? It will bend away from the normal. So what is happening? It is diverging away. So a person who is looking at this ray from here, he will feel that this ray is actually coming from a point here. Alright. Now let us mark this point as F. Now fourth number, finally they have asked, label this point F. This point F is what? This is the first curved surface of the lens. This side is the second curved surface. So if this is first, this is your first focal point. So answer is first focal point. So this next question is very important because it came in the year 2010. Alright, the question has two parts. First part, they are asking you about the kind of lens which can be used to burn a piece of paper. All of you know this answer because all of you have used that magnifying glass in your childhood days to burn that piece of paper. That magnifying glass, if you touch it at its center, alright, that is what? Bulging out in the center. So that means that is a convex lens. So answer here would be convex lens. Second part, you have to draw a ray diagram for it. So how you use that magnifying glass or convex lens? Suppose this is your magnifying glass, convex lens, sunlight falling on it, parallel, light rays are falling on it. Now after passing, we know that because this is convex, it will make the parallel light rays converge and meet at a point. This is where you will place your piece of paper if you want to burn it. So students, this session we have covered a lot about lenses and its types. Also we learned how to name different types of lenses. After that, we also studied how to make ray diagrams by treating lens as a thin lens and a thick lens and studying their diverging and converging properties. After that, we learned various terms related to lens which will provide you good background before we move on to next session. After that, we ended the session with a good discussion about the rules which are related regarding the construction of ray diagrams. So hopefully this session is providing you a very good basic background before you move on to next session. And next session we will be covering about the ray diagrams, how to construct and how to get the nature of the image, the characteristics and application with each case. Altogether in concave lens there are 2 cases and for convex we are having 6 cases. So each one will do that in detail. Plus in addition to that, we will be solving some standard handpicked questions, and as a teacher I will just demonstrate how to answer the question so that you might not lose any marks in your board exams. Knowing everything is okay, but how to represent in your answer sheets, we will have a good discussion about that also.